Hello everyone, I'm Kiwi Nina Mori, and today I'm going to do part 2 of my main crew introduction video. I've had a lot of dolls since I started the hobby, and I wanted to do several videos going over the ones that I've decided to keep and that I have put so much effort and love into. They are the very embodiment of their characters and my ideas that I've had for them, so I wanted to share those so that you could keep up with which dolls I still have and what is going on in my collection. So I'm going to also list some of the artists that helped me with the pieces of their customization and then what work went into them. So just know that everything that they're wearing is made by me. So I sewed all of their outfits to represent the characters in their story. Sometimes I'll be switching off what characters they represent, but keep the doll. So I may change the names of some of these eventually, depending on how the writing goes, because my stories are not complete yet, and so I'm always changing out characters and moving around things. But I'm gonna start off with one of my Grail dolls that I got in my collection. So this is Cypress. He is a Narborough Sumner and he is on a Demiurge doll's body. And I am completely blown away that I was ever allowed to find Narborough Sumner, because the artist did so few sculpts when they made their heads, but they are absolutely beautiful, and everyone who sees them just loves them and admires the work that went into them. But there's such a small number of them. They don't pop up on the marketplace, and when they do, they're overpriced, and it just breaks my heart because I never thought I would get one. And when I found him, I just lit up, because I was just like, at a time I'm just like, yes, I can get him at this time. And so I went ahead and jumped on that, and now I have one. And it's really exciting to finally have a doll on your wish list that you were sure that was not going to happen while you were in the hobby. So he actually has a face up by Emperor of Bread on Instagram, and I'll put all of the links in my in the section of my video so that people can look up these artists. And I made his wig, actually. It's out of alpaca, and so I'll also put the link of what shops, because I usually get from like the Woolen Wagon and some few other shops that I get alpaca from, but it turned out really well. I don't normally make boy wigs, so I wasn't sure it would come out looking good on him. And he has such a big head, I couldn't find a wig for him. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. And it was, so I'm really excited about that. But he was pretty fun to make clothes for, because he has this very flamboyant personality, and he's extravagant. He's just like this super overpowering person. When you walk in the room, everyone is looking at you, and you know that this person has authority. So that's just sort of his the sense he gives off, and so I liked capturing that in his clothing. So it's kind of funny, because I've gotten people to say like, oh, he may look like Jagger or Marilyn Manson, but when I take photos of him, he's very photogenic. And so like the artist did a wonderful job on this sculpt, and I'm so glad I managed to get him, because there are some other Narborough heads on my wish list, but I would be satisfied now that I have at least one that I managed to find. So with my next doll I'm going to look over is Lorado. So she is a Little Rebel Nicole head, and she is on a Supia doll body. So I actually had to dye that body myself, because she is the artist's new resin that they released, which is like a caramel resin color, and I was not about to find a body for the head. I actually got a Mascat body in tan, and I was like, this is gonna match, because I had another little rebel head on top of a mascot body before, and so I knew for sure that the resin matched. But then I got the new head, and it was a completely different resin, and I was like, oh, this doesn't match anymore. So I had to get her a different body and dye it myself. But it turned out pretty well, and then I did some extra blushing to give her some more realism. But she is gorgeous, and Lorato is an important character in one of my stories. She is actually the love interest for Sana's brother. So from my first part 1 video of my main crew, so Sana, Setka, and Lorato are in the same story, and she has a huge influence on what goes on in the plot. It's probably one of the first novels that I'm going to release, because I'm almost done with that one. I'm looking for agents and publishers. So you will be able to get to read about that soon and understand like her background and what's happening in their story. But she has a face up by Koa Dolls, which is also Suture Lines now on Instagram, and very talented face up artist with a unique aesthetic that you just don't normally see around. And so I was really really thrilled to get this this face up done for her, because she sort of looks tomboyish but soft at the same time, and I just had to get a face up that represented her personality, because she's very flirtatious at the same time of being very standoffish. So it's kind of funny that she has this blend of charisma. Her wig is by Anfisa Wigs on Etsy, so I'll put the link up as well. But the curls are absolutely gorgeous. I love the little tiny ringlets, and it's so soft. Like it's mohair, but it's just like this feels like just soft fleece fuzz. So I don't ever want the curls to get crushed or anything. I want them to keep their shape forever. So I'm very careful about when I lay her down, but she always has to be sitting up, and her head can't be touching anything, because I want the curls to be perfect forever. It's unlikely, but I will try to manage it. Then my next one in my crew, I have Ulari. So this boy here, and I feel like he is definitely a fan favorite on my Instagram. A lot of people are in love with his face up. He has a bite mark on his face, and it really throws people off, because they're like, how did he get this mark? And because it is human teeth over his eye, so you're like, why would a human ever bite him? And I'm like, it's not like a zombie situation or anything. And Ulari's story is actually part of a werewolf pack, and so he was bitten by a human mid-transformation, and I also have the other character who bit him. He's not done yet. I still have to dye his body, so I will do a fun storytelling situation as soon as I get that finished up. But it's kind of funny to have these characters' backstories written out, and it's just really amusing to see how other people react to them, seeing it reflected in the dolls. So Ulari is a little rebel Ethan head, and he's in the older tan skin. So this was the shade I thought Lorato would come in, and it's totally different. Much softer, but I had to actually dye his body as well. He's on a Peakswood style body, and I thought the tan came out really well. It's really soft, and I've got a lot of practice now dyeing bodies, so I may never have to worry about trying to match dolls again, because that's always the biggest problem when you're a collector that has a lot of hybrids, is finding the matching heads and bodies based on resin. But I've gotten confident enough, having done it a couple of times, that I don't think about that when I buy heads anymore. I'm like, oh, I'll just get this in whatever color I want it, and then dye the body to match. It takes a lot of pressure off, and I love that. So if you're like me and you love making hybrids, definitely try dyeing when you get confident enough, and it's just so much easier to deal with when you find the body you want, and then you can just dye it or ask the company to make the resin in your color. So his face up is made by CC Studio on Etsy, which is also Elena98 on Instagram, and pretty much my go-to face up artist person. Most of my dolls are by this artist, and everything I ever ask for gets answered right away. It comes quickly. It holds up. Like, I don't get too much chipping or scratches or anything, which I've had happen a few times from other artists that earlier in the hobby. And so when I find an artist that I really like, who I can depend on, I go to them repeatedly. And I just love having that connection where they know all of my characters by now, and they're like, okay, what can I do for you today? I can see this is going to be another one of your interesting characters. And they look forward to it, and it's kind of fun that someone else can experience this with me and looks forward to my characters coming to life in this adventure. So I love the hobby and the connections that you do build with people when you work with other artists. So I also had his wig made. It's by Sugar and Moose. No longer selling wigs anymore, so I lucked out having that early on, but it's sad because I do like the style, and it's hard to find short boy wigs, so I'm gonna have to find more people who will make boy wigs so I can get some for my other heads. But I'm glad Uluri came together because he was really fun to make things for. I loved putting together his fabrics and his beadwork. His influence is sort of a lot of mixture of different cultures, and so it kind of creates a world of its own, and I really like that about his ambiguity. And then he is in the same story with Sinawa. So this girl here, she is a Golden Era Clara head, and she's on a Soom body. So not a well-known artist at all. Golden Era just started making heads, and they're sell on Taobao. I bought their other head that they released, which was the Golden Era Lloyd head. I love their sculpt work, just amazing. And it's such a shame that it was only on Taobao, and I think it was on New Clover Singing website for a little bit, but people had a hard time finding it. So I hope this artist gets more attention, because they really need their work to be seen, and other people need to have this sculpt, because I want to see pictures of other owners with these dolls, because I just like, when I ordered them, I was hunting down reference and like, did anyone else get this? I want to see, so we can do this together. It's kind of fun to see, like, how's your face up coming along? What wigs are you doing? So I liked doing that with her. I met a couple of other people who had heard of this artist, or I introduced them, because I did introduce my friend to the artist, and we both bought a Lloyd head together. So that's really fun that she could help me make new friends in the hobby. So she is on a Soom body, and she's in the tawny resin, which is pretty interesting. I did not think tawny resin was going to look like this, because in the camera you can definitely tell it's different from normal skin, because this is normal skin and this one is almost pale white skin, and so tawny is just beneath a regular tan, so much lighter than him, and so it's sort of red, but I kind of like the tawny skin. It's interesting. But Sinawa grew up in the same tribe as Uluri, so she is aware of all the werewolf activity going on in her group. But she's also very mature and responsible in the crew. so she did not take it well when she found out Uluri got bit. So I will like sitting down and going over the story in a different video of their whole interaction as characters, but I really loved making her outfit. Like it's such colorful and creative for the design I pulled together from like a Hilltop Tribe artwork and some Guatemalan patterns that I found online. So she does have a blend of different cultures as well put together in her outfit and to represent her character. Her face up is by Jijatsu Chino Tenchi, which is on Instagram and Facebook, and I really love this artist. Like super reliable and kind and just all around a great person to work with, because I'm always interested in what I'm doing and I'm always interested back, and getting to see the realistic face-ups that they come up with is really inspiring, because I don't get to have that much experience in putting my characters down in solid form. Everything in my writing I try to capture with my dolls, and it's nice to come across someone who can put that artwork in from my head onto a sculpt and canvas. Her wig is made by me, also alpaca hair. I was just having a day at it, really, of making a bunch of alpaca wigs at the same time. And so hers is really long and straight, and I may get her a different one at some point just to represent different timelines in her story. But it's cool to have things to play around with for their outfits. Next on the list I have Ji-young, which is this girl, and she's pretty old in my collection. I've had her for a few years now. She's an Eevee's Sanctum Nandi head, and this was a very small private artist who sold heads on Etsy. I hope they release again because it's a beautiful sculpt. Like, she has such a gentle smile that you don't really see that often in dolls, because I know smiles sometimes make people uncomfortable, but hers is very subtle, and so it reveals this like lightheartedness about her. And then she's on the Krobi doll body. So interesting hybrid. It was kind of hard to find a resin match because it's normal skin, but it's the palest normal skin I've ever seen. It was like, it's almost white skin, but not quite white. When I put it on a white body, didn't work. So I always had to hunt for a really light normal skin for her. So she was an adventure. And so making clothes for her is a little awkward because right now her story is jumping around. I've had an idea in the beginning, and then she's jumped stories around. So right now she's just a traveler, waiting to be settled into her life as I write her. I did make her wig, also alpaca, and her face up is by CC Studio, Elena98. I love her birthmark. Like, anything I can put in my dolls that makes them stand out is the best part of making requests with face up artists. But Elena really blew my mind with how well she was able to do a birthmark like this. It's very realistic, and I couldn't have it any other way for her character. So I'm thrilled that she came out so well. And then one of my newer girls, which is Laurel. So this girl, she's an ogress, and it's super cute. She's in my story with Newt and Castor. She's an ogress in a human court, so she dresses all fancy because this is how humans prefer her to look. And she braids up her hair and tries to hide her pointed ears. She has fangs, and she's just like the cutest little sculpt. but her normal clothing would be nothing like this if she got to dress how she wanted. But since she's told what to do, she has to make herself look like a proper human lady, and she doesn't like that. Until she gets to meet Newt and Castor, she can finally be herself and deal with people who actually trust her and don't fear her. So that's really great for her in the story. She has a wig made up by me, and this is wool. This is such a soft material to work with, and I absolutely loved it because it's just individual strands that were pretty much already ready to just be glued on after you trim it. Really easy to make and a gorgeous color. I absolutely love this red color for her. Her face up is by Koa Dolls, aka Suture Lines. I bought her head with this face up actually. So she's a Dollenmine Marcelina, and Koa Dolls was selling her with the face up already done because they were practicing, and I saw it and I was like, this is beautiful, this is perfect for my character. So I just like snatched that up and that was when I had my first chance to get a face up by this artist, when I bought the head already done. And so that's when I sent over my next head, which was Lorado, to get her face up. And that really paid off because I have another reliable face up artist I can go to for amazing, unique works. I will just do a montage one day of like each of my dolls and a multiple by each artist that I send away for face ups. And so I like getting to work with them. But I can't wait to do another part of my main crew videos. So part 3 hopefully won't take as long as part 2 did from the first one, because this is a couple of months in between. It's been a tough year and getting everything ready, but I have some ideas for what to do for the next video. Still working on putting the next group together. Lots of dye work happening and more wigs that I am making, and plenty of fantastic sewing adventures that I will be posting eventually. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me put together these dolls and their characters, and look forward to seeing the next group in my collection. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!